Welcome to Vintage Coin Op Restorations in Evan's 1933 Saratoga Sweepstakes. This is our second video. If you saw the first one, you saw this machine pretty much the way you see it now, but we have gone over this whole thing, taken apart every single little part, and we have it running 100%. Though it was missing a lot of springs because over time they just break, and grease and oil over the years solidify and they get locked up. So basically you have to take everything apart, break down all those parts, and make them all loose again. As you can see, those hair trigger springs there, none of them were there. They were all stretched out, broken, and we got all those back, replaced them, and it's working pretty cool. But I'd like to go over this machine really quick with you. I usually don't spend this much time on a video, but well, here goes. This is pretty an incredible mechanism. So what is Saratoga Sweepstakes? Well, it's a gambling machine slash gumball vendor. Gumball vendor meaning it can get away with gambling many years ago by saying it dispensed a gumball, and that it does. As you can see, there's a little window here, and I would typically have that filled with gumballs so you can see them. But inside here, if you watched that first video, you saw that somebody made some sort of coin chute that didn't work, but we ended up fabricating a new one. Although it was brand new, we patinaed everything, so it looks like it's old. Or let's put it, it looks like it's been patinaed. And that we did. Everything has been redone, but crudely done, so it would be just like it was in 1933. So let's kind of go over this machine. Like I said, it's a gambling machine, so what we're going to do is we're going to pretend, although we don't have our play field on, we're going to pretend that this is the center of the machine and we have a little flag here. So we're going to say, one of our horses we're going to choose to win. So, as you are the player, you would pick a horse. But right now you can't. And you can't do that because there's a locking mechanism down. Let's zoom into that little piece there. That little finger is pretty neat, and it's balanced perfectly. Because as you put your coin in, that little bar gets pushed down. And when it gets pushed down, it allows the player to pick a horse. And as you pick your horse, let's say we got 3 over here. 3 is shown on the backside. Why the backside? Because this sat on a bar, and this way the bartender could see that it was a number 3. And there's another thing that the bartender's looking. He wants to see that coin. That has proof that yes, you put money into the machine, you bet on number 3. And your horse, let's say it came in at the pin, so you won. And then you have the odds changer. There's a little window that you would see what your odds were, and the bartender would pay you out accordingly. So how does it all work? Well, we talked about the little locking mechanism for picking your horse, but at the same time, which is really neat that we had to fabricate this coin chute, is because you put the nickel is dropped in on the top of the playfield, and it falls down, perpendicular to the chute. So the chute has to be designed one side taller than the other so that when the coin is dropped, it's going to flip it, and it's going to flip it and let it roll down that chute and stop at the window. As the bartender sees the coin, it shows that there was money dropped in. But the next turn that comes around, this little window, there's a little flapper here. That flapper drops the coin, and the coin that was there now is shot. As you're going to see it, it's going to shoot it underneath this game, which is basically your giant coin box. And then you tilt the machine. As you can see here, we have a tilted piece of wood, and the guy would tilt the whole machine and then get his money out of it. So a lot going on here for a nickel. It's pretty mind-boggling what Evans did, all for 1 nickel. So let me zoom in on the mechanisms here. What you have here are horses that spin in a circle, they are all weighted, and at the same time, let me see if I could zoom in for you. You'll see those so delicate little springs that we had to replace, and there's a ratchet on there, so it's not going to go back. You can hear it. And each one is perfectly balanced, and then they have to, you know, spin freely, so that's kind of neat. And now below it is your gear. That's your motor. That's your power. That's what every time you push that handle down, that's what you're controlling it. And as you push it forward, the spring pulls back, and it pulls back and spins those horses. So that's the horse part. Now this incredible coin mechanism, just look how long and big, and there's all kinds of parts in here. I must have took 50 pictures just to take this thing all apart and put it back together. So here's a quick peek at it. Now, we talked about the picking the horse, we talked about the horse mechanism spinning, but what about the gumball thing? Here it is, what's going on here. Right now, if, oh, I can spin around here. On the other side of the machine, you got this little turnbuckle here. And as I try turning it, let me zoom in, and there you go. As I try to turn it, I can't. It locks. So what happens every time that the player plays, this little, I can show you here, this little spring pulls, and now it sits on top. Oh, let me see, I'm trying to simulate something here. Okay. By doing that, it allows the lever. Oh, I pulled it out again. Let me try that again. There we go. It'll allow me to pull this piece of wood dispenser out. And when I bring it down, it locks. And then by that means all those gumballs are in this little hopper, and it would dispense one gumball. So it's pretty neat little mechanism. So let me kind of hook that all back up and do a quick look at this mechanism here. And like I said, well, what shoots the little nickel back? It's pretty neat. Every time after you shoot, you got this little lever here, and what that lever does, as I push in, you can see that it's going to drop the coin, and at the same time there's another mechanism that you see on the bottom that is going to get pulled back, and there's a little chute, little metal plate. I'll try to point for you right here. This little metal plate gets quickly pushed forward, and it kicks your nickel into the machine. So enough talking about it. It's kind of hard to explain all this, but here we go. We're going to drop our nickel in, and in turn, now that our nickel's in, over here our lever is released. So now we can pick a horse. So I'm going to pick number 6. So somewhere here in the center of our game we'll have number 6. Okay. So as I push the lever on the right down, you can see I'm holding it down. Our lever opened up the little flapper. The coin that was before this one is now dispensed below, and now when I let go of the trigger, watch the little nickel in the bottom. There were 2, now there's only 1. So, alright, and your nickel down is at the bottom. And here, let me try this, put another one inside there. And our horses spin around. So here, let me do this again so you guys can, it's kind of hard to see all the operations at the same time. See, our nickel, do it again. I can't do this with one hand. Hang on a second. As the horses spin around. Very, very neat mechanism. If you have one of these machines for sale, please give us a call. We'd love to purchase it. If you need one restored, we'd love to do that also. Our next phase, our third video, is going to be this whole machine with its top on, and we need to make a rear door for it and clean it up a little bit. We don't want to restain or do any stripping on this machine because it's a beautiful original. So we're just going to give it a little facelift, and you'll see the finished product probably in another couple weeks. Thanks for watching.